Hello, I'm Graham Horton and welcome to today's video. If you are a content creator and have started to use your smartphone for videography, you've probably found that the audio isn't quite as good as you'd expect it to be for that sort of presentation. You're hearing now the audio coming from my iPhone 17 Pro Max, and the phone is only about 2 feet away from my mouth, so a normal sort of headshot is fine. The iPhone microphones have improved year on year to the point where you can actually start using them at this distance. But once you move away about 2-3 meters, then the ambient noise tends to overcome your own voice, so you tend to have very poor audio with that sort of distance. For that reason, it's better to use either a wired lavalier microphone plugged into your smartphone and attach the lavalier microphone to your shirt. The downside of that is the fact if you forget you've got that attached and you walk away, you pull your camera over or rip the microphone off your shirt. The real answer is to use a wireless lavalier microphone, and I've got one here for review today. It's been sent to me by Instro, who are a Godox distributor, and you can see it on the desk here. It is the Godox C01, and this is the Kit 2 version, which has the single receiver but 2 transmitters. This is the docking and charging station. So the docking station has an inbuilt lithium-ion battery, and that will charge the 2 transmitters when you put them back into the case. So let me unbox this and I'll show you what you get with the C01 kit. So remove the shell, and in the base you'll find a USB-A to USB-C charging lead, and that is to charge the internal lithium-ion battery of the charging station dock. You'll find you'll get some fun stickers if you want to adorn your transmitters with these. If you're into that sort of silly mood, it's not something for me. You will get the instruction manual, which is a basic instruction manual which details the parts and the charging status of the lights and pairing, etc. So it gives you some basic information of how this works. But the main feature is the actual docking station. Let me remove that from the packaging. It is quite a tight fit in here. So here we have the docking station. A look around that. It looks as though there are 2 holes there. You may be able to fit a lanyard. I'm not sure. I've not tried that. But on the top here you can see we've got a USB-C port which is used for charging. So you can charge this from a wall socket or from a power bank if you need to. Notice we've got 4 LEDs across there, and they give us an indication as to the charge remaining in the lithium-ion battery of this device. To check the power level, you just need to open the device by pressing the end there. That will flip out, and you can see we've got 4 LEDs showing, so the charge in this is at 100%. So each of those LEDs represents a charge level of 25%. If you slide out the device, you can see we've got the receiver here, which has the USB-C connectivity, and we've got 2 LEDs which gives us an indication of the pairing and the noise reduction mode of the device. No battery in this. This is a parasitic device. It takes power from your smartphone when it's plugged in. On the base of it is again an orange button, and again that has various features which I'll show you in the video. Inside there we've got the 2 transmitters. You can see the charging status here of this particular transmitter is what's called breathing blue, and that means that this device is actually being charged, where this one has got a solid blue line, which means that it's fully charged. So let me just take one of the transmitters out and we can have a closer look at that device. You can see on the device we've got a flashing LED. That flashing LED gives us an indication as to the pairing mode and also on the noise reduction. At the moment it's flashing green, so that means it's trying to pair, but the noise reduction is turned off. If I press the side button once, and that side button has 3 functions: turns the device on and off, enables or disables noise reduction, but can also act as a start and stop recording on your smartphone if you're in video mode or take stills if you're in this photo mode. So this device is now waiting for connection with the transmitter being powered up. So I'm going to plug the transmitter into the iPhone 17 Pro Max here, plug it into the USB-C port. You can see we've got two LEDs on the receiver. One is showing that we're paired and in the non-noise reduction mode because the LED is green. The other one is flashing, meaning it's waiting for that transmitter to pair. If we go back to the on-desk transmitter, if I press the button once, we notice that the LED here turns orange, and on the receiver again it's turned orange. So you can either use the button on the receiver to switch the noise reduction mode, or you can use the one on the transmitter to change the mode. So again, a single press will go back to the non-noise reduction mode, single press to put us back into noise reduction mode. If I double press the button, you will see that we will start recording. So you can see the iPhone has now gone into recording mode, and a double press will stop recording. Now that does work with all the apps. I've tried this with the Blackmagic Cinema app, and it also works with the native app, and it also works on your Android phone, be it Google Pixel or any of the other Androids such as the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra here. So it does work with the Android devices as well. Let's have a look at that noise reduction mode in a little bit more detail, and then I'll show you some of the modifications I've been making to this device to make it a little bit more user efficient. Let's have a look at how you mount this device to give you good audio. Each of the transmitter comes with this magnet. Incidentally, I marked these up as TX1 and TX2, but in fact it doesn't really matter which transmitter you use. If you only use a single transmitter for your production, it doesn't matter which one you use, it will always be TX1. As soon as you turn on the second transmitter, that also becomes TX2. But say out of the kit, it doesn't matter whether you use TX1 or TX2, it will be labelled as TX1. So there's a magnet on the transmitter and a magnet here which has got the Godox logo. They almost must be connected with the G facing outwards. Trying to put it the other way around, the two magnets repel and it just flies away. So keep the G logo to the outside. Normally that will be mounted on your shirt or your tie. So I'm going to install the transmitter on my pocket, and again the G must be facing away from the transmitter, so we'll put that there, put the transmitter on here. You can see that it's magnetically attached. So that is the right distance for recording. So we're in noise reduction mode, so that's with the orange light. And first of all, I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to use the button on the receiver here. So a single press puts me into the green mode. So it's one complaint that I have about the brightness of this LED. It may not affect you in your productions, but I find that that's a bit of a distraction. That's where you could stick on one of these fun stickers over the transmitter if you wanted to get rid of it, or a simpler method would be just to put some black tape over there just to blank that out if you wanted to. Some of the manufacturers give you an app and they can turn off that LED. Maybe that's something Godox could think about in future iterations of this device. So again, you could put black tape over the logo if you wanted to do that. Alternatively, you could put this on the inside, so I could put this on my pocket this way around. All you're left with now is the Godox logo, and again, if you wanted to, you could use a felt tip pen and colour that out, or just put some black tape over. The only disadvantage of putting it on the inside of clothing, of course, is if you move, you could get friction, which will be picked up by that microphone. So again, it depends how you mount that. Later in the video, I want to show you a modification I've made which overcomes that issue. Let me put it back on the outside and we'll do a noise reduction test, see how this works. So the G faces away from the transmitter, and the transmitter can go on there. Now the microphones on these are omnidirectional polar oriented, so it doesn't really matter whether you have the microphone up or to the side or down. And in fact, if you've got talent which has got plosive voices, you can actually mount the microphone downwards, and that would overcome some of those issues, that the wind is not explosively moving over that surface, and it will reduce the plosive. So I'm going to put this the right way up. We're going to do a noise reduction test, and I'm going to use a fan to blow across the device just to see how the internal noise reduction of this system will respond. So I'm going to start recording with a double press of the button, and again I missed that, and you notice that we've gone into the noise reduction mode. So I'm going to go back to a single press, which gives me the green light, and I'll try and do a double press, and that has started recording on the iPhone. So that is a little bit tricky to enable that double press. So at the moment you're hearing the audio from the microphone but with no noise reduction enabled. I'm going to start up the fan. And that is the wind blowing across the surface of the fan, and I'm going to go into full speed. So you might be able to hear the whine of the fan itself plus the air across the microphone. So we'll turn that off. Now I'm going to go into the noise reduction mode. Again, double press of the orange button on the side will change over from the noise reduction being disabled to noise reduction enabled. So a single press will change the noise reduction mode to noise reduction enabled. We got an orange light on the transmitter, an orange light on the receiver, so we're now in noise reduction mode. Now, in previous microphone tests, in some of these Lavalier mics that I've previously bought, when I enable noise reduction, it actually clips out some of the audio as well, so you do lose audio quality. But this one doesn't seem to change the audio quality that much, but it does have a good noise reduction facility. Let's try that with the fan again. So let's just try that in the single speed mode. And now we'll go to full speed mode. So now we're in full speed mode. And I'll start talking just to see whether the AI algorithm can reduce the noise from the fan but keep my voice at a steady level. So let's have a look at that. Now the system does have automatic volume control, so it tends to keep the audio level at a reasonable level. So it's like an AVC. So if I start talking fairly loud, then the system should reduce that to stop it overloading and clipping. So we'll be able to test that in the video. I want to now to look at if you didn't want to use that inbuilt AI noise reduction mode for your recording, especially outside, you could use a dead cat windshield. Now, it isn't supplied in the kit, but I purchased these from Amazon, and they are from a company called Comica. I'll put a link to these in the video description below, but they will fit on the transmitter. So I'm going to turn noise reduction mode off, so that is a single press, the light has gone green, and so I'm going to fit the transmitter into this Comica dead cat windshield. It will fit if you just undo the band which tightens it up. We're in the non-noise reduction mode, so that's a green LED, and it really doesn't matter which way you install this because of that polar pattern of the omnidirectional microphone. I'm just going to cinch this up to fit it inside the dead cat windshield, and again I'll fit this onto my shirt, again the G faces away from the transmitter, and we'll put that just there. So again, we'll try a noise reduction test, and the iPhone is now running. So you can see there's no reduction in audio quality when you fit a dead cat windshield, but what we should see is the fact that we're able to use the fan, and again I'll keep it at that same distance and speed 1. So again, a voice test to make sure that we're still getting audio, but we're not being bothered by wind blowing across that microphone. I'll go into the full speed mode. So you can probably hear the fan motor, but that won't be reduced by the wind muff, but we should have stopped that blowing across the microphone element, which causes a problem. So that is the noise reduction by using a fur cap windshield, which is something I prefer to use rather than using the noise reduction mode, but as you've seen, it works quite well with this device. Now the other method I've worked out is a way of mounting this so that you can have it on a lanyard around your neck rather than clipping it to your shirt or putting it on the inside. So basically what it is, you can see it here on the desktop, is just a steel washer, and this one is in fact just a 6mm steel washer. I've got some elasticated cord, and I've borrowed from my granddaughter's jewellery making kit just 2 beads, so I can cinch that up to tighten it to the washer. So it's a case of just putting this around your neck, like so. Then it's a case of just attaching your magnet from the transmitter onto the washer, and it's at the correct distance. So let's just record some audio using the iPhone 17 Pro Max and the microphone held at that distance with that cord. It's a pity that Godox don't provide this in the basic kit. Okay, it is a basic kit, but in a world where you need a competitive advantage, some of the other manufacturers are providing lanyards and alternative clip systems to enable you to mount it. So maybe that's something that they ought to look at. One of the other options I have is a clip which I've taken from a static lavalier kit, and it's just the clip which allows the microphone to be clipped onto a tie or whatever. But you can use that because again it's a steel clip. So for example, if I wanted to mount that onto my collar, I can just clip this onto the collar, and then using the double magnet to give it a little bit more strength, I could then attach that to the clip. And again, if we do an audio test with the iPhone 17 Pro Max, you can see we get a good audio pickup with the microphone in that place. It's better to have it a little bit further down to give you better bass response, but then you may be limited, but it depends on how you want to mount that microphone. What about the transmitters? You are provided 2 in the Kit 2 version of the product. It means you've got 2 independent channels, but unfortunately they are combined together on the receiver to give 1 track. If you've got talent with different voice levels, then there is a sort of a facility to reduce the gain or increase the gain of the other microphone on the device, and I'll show you how that works now. I'm just first of all going to turn off one of the microphones, so I'm going to turn off this particular one. So again, just press and hold. The LED will go out, which means that transmitter is turned off. To adjust the volume of the microphones, you use the button here on the receiver. Press and hold that for 3 seconds and it will give you an indication as to the volume level, and then it will increment to the next one. So you'll see what I mean now. So I'm going to press the button, and we'll also start recording on the iPhone to show the difference. So I've got the microphone roughly about 12 inches away from my face. I'm going to press the button and hold it for 3 seconds. And you can see we've got a double flash on that button, which means we're in level 2. So this is level 2 with the microphone. I'll press and hold for 3 seconds again. You can see we're now in level 3, so that is the highest volume. If I press it again, it will cycle through to level 1. So we're back to level 1. So level 1 is normally the default standard, but obviously you're adjusting both levels rather than a single level. So again, you could have issues with the level from two speakers. Be aware of that. So there we are, some options for you to alternatively mount your C01 microphone. But in general, I found the operation of it rather easy. And again, it isn't supported by the Godox microphone app, which some of the microphones are. Again, we're talking about basic level microphones here, so probably not expecting too much in the way of being able to tailor the frequency response. But again, that's something they may want to look at. You probably find outdoors you can use this device up to 200 meters line of sight. But obviously if you turn your body to block the transmitter to the receiver, the RF signal will be reduced, so you may get dropout. But up to 50 meters, there should be enough power in this transmitter to enable you to use it realistically. But normally you're going to only be using this sort of 10 meters at the most, so you should be able to turn around without any problems whatsoever and get still good audio quality. Well, that's it for my review. Hope you found that useful. I'll put links to the product in the video description below. Once again, the product was supplied by Instro, a Godox distributor, for my review for you, but I don't accept scripts. I can't be told what I can't say. What you're hearing in this video are my own thoughts. If there have been any problems, as you've seen in the video, I've highlighted them. Instro haven't seen this video before you have, so you are getting my own thoughts and words about this product, which I wholly endorse for you as content creators. So until the next video, thanks very much for watching. If you are a new viewer and you like the way that these presentations are made, why not hit the subscribe button and also that bell notification icon so you'll be notified when I upload new videos to the channel. If you want to, you can check out my Photographic blog. You'll find lots more information on particularly Panasonic Lumix bridge cameras and also on the mirrorless camera range. So do check that out if you want some more photographic information. So until the next video, thanks again for watching. Please do take care, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Goodbye for now.